Hi guys. I'm gonna flip through a book with you today because I feel like I haven't flipped through a book with you for a while. It's pretty niche though because it's not a massively mainstream series that I'm gonna show you. It is called Black Mirror by Charlie Brooker and Annabelle Jones. Charlie Brooker is like an idol of mine. And ever since I was introduced to this by my dad, I believe, I've just loved it, and I've watched all of this series. I've done the interactive episode on Netflix called Bandersnatch, and I'm just gonna really quickly show you, well, not super quickly, but I'm gonna flip through this book and show you some of the episodes. There's like a few still screenshots in there. It may not be the most suitable. I believe there is pretty much a lot of bad language in there and stuff. I'm not going to like read it out, but just a little warning, because this is definitely an adult program. It's not for kids. If you haven't heard of Black Mirror, it's a dystopian series. It's like what's the word, anthology, is that the word? So each episode is different and it's completely separate stories, but it's all kind of a little bit close to home because it kind of shows you what humanity is really like and where we're headed, and it's all very much possible in the future in a scary kind of way. So let's open it up. So immediately you've got the classic icon of the smiley face in the glass. Black Mirror. I love how this is set out. So you've got series 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'm gonna just give you a really brief overview of some of the episodes by just flipping to them. So you'll have a foreword by Charlie Brooker, and then they kind of have a brief opening of how the seasons came about. So this is for season 1, but I'm just going to get straight to the episode. So episode 1 is the national anthem, and this is one of the ones that I found hardest to watch. Sorry, something happened to my throat there, I don't know what happened. So there's like 2, this and the one where they're in the spaceship, and there's probably a couple of others. They're all designed to be uncomfortable, I guess is the word, to make you feel kind of uncomfortable watching them, but I really struggled with this one. It's hard to tell you what it's about, but basically the Prime Minister gets a blackmail threat because they've kidnapped a young girl. Some terrorist organisation have kidnapped a young girl, and unless he does very inappropriate things on camera with a pig, they're not going to release her. I think they're going to kill her or something. And obviously he is immediately not going to go through with it, but as it progresses he ends up having to do that, and it's kind of about human the people of the world, or of the UK where it's set, being all kind of jokey about it at first and laughing about it and tuning in and saying they're going to enjoy seeing him be uncomfortable, but then there's this moment when it's happening of just pure silence and disgust, and it's not what they thought it was going to be, and that's kind of the main point, I think. So that, yeah, I didn't find that one very easy to watch. 15 million merits. This was a really good one. This is set in a world where you have to participate. you basically live your life on an exercise bike, and it's all for credits, and you can use credits to get a little bit ahead in life, maybe get like better food, get better opportunities, and it all depends if you want to just live day to day or if you want to save your credits. And it's about a man and a woman and just their journey in this world and what ends up happening to them. If they're going to sell themselves out or if they're going to stand up for what they believe in. The entire history of you. So I believe it's hard to remember which one's which because some of them are a little similar, but I think this one is where you can look back through your memories, which are being recorded in a visual, like an eyepiece kind of thing. And I believe this is like major spoilers. Oh my god, I should have prefaced this by saying, if you have not watched Black Mirror, stop watching right now, don't even watch a single second more of this video, and go and watch it because it's so good and it's so well done and thought-provoking, and you'll just think about it for months. But I am going to be giving you all the spoilers. I'll have to write it in the description. But yeah, so you should watch it. Basically, in this one, he finds out that his wife has cheated on him, and it goes on from there. So that all there was in season 1. Let me check. I'm sure there was more. No, just 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's quite short. I mean, British series they're quite short anyway. Usually they're not like 20 episodes per season kind of thing, but so we have season 2. Be right back. What was this? Let me remind. Oh, I think her husband dies, or her partner sadly passes away, and she finds like an AI that listens to everything he's ever said and messaged so that it speaks like exactly like he would speak, and she gets kind of addicted, and then he steps it up a notch by getting a like silicone or whatever it is body delivered, so it is like having her partner back, but it's all kind of freaky, as you can probably tell. But this had kind of a nice feel to it this season. It wasn't as difficult to watch. Oh, I say that, but White Bear, well, it's kind of satisfying because White Bear, you kind of feel like she's the victim for the whole of the episode, but there is a twist. I'm not going to super go into any spoilers. She basically wakes up and she doesn't know where she is or who she is, and everybody is videotaping her with their camera, with their mobile phones, and she doesn't know why, and she's being kind of stalked, hunted, and it's all about her trying to figure out what's going on, but the ending is really good. The Waldo Moment is kind of a bit of fun. It's about like an animated bear who decides to, I think he like runs for president or something like that, and he's just very honest about his opinions, and that goes down well with the public, because he's very brash, he's very out there, and is like an opposition to who would usually be in power, because they're very evasive and very straight-laced, but the person who voices him ends up going against the system, and it's kind of about him being replaceable, even though he built it up to what it was. So just, as always, a really strong message. The Christmas special. Christmas special was really good. If it's the one I'm thinking of, where they're in like an abandoned cabin. There's two men in an abandoned cabin and they get talking, and it gives you a story, a backstory of their lives respectively. So they're opening up to each other, and they kind of don't know how much time has passed or where they really are or why they're there together, and it kind of builds up to that point. And you find out they've both done things in their past that's led them to this cabin. I don't want to go too much into it because I really do recommend watching this. Series 3. Nosedive. Fun fact, there is a board game of Nosedive, which is ironic because the whole premise is that it features Bryce Dallas Howard, and it's the concept of you live your life and you post things pretty much like Instagram and Facebook, and depending on a number of likes or people who approve of what you're doing, they give you credits, and you live your life better the more credits you have. So if you go against the system, or if people don't like your preferred cup of coffee in the morning or anything like that, they can rate you lower, and your life can kind of spiral out of control pretty easily. So she's a step away from her perfect dream life, and in the course of one or 2 days it all spirals out of control and goes downhill. One thing after another happens, but then at the end you kind of realize she's a little bit more free. She was living to this standard of trying to have the idyllic life on screen, like on paper, but really it was all rubbish, essentially. A playtest. Oh, this was a hard one to watch, but it's one of my favourites. It did make me cry, actually, at the end. So, a man goes to a test run of a video game. I believe he gets paid, I'm not sure. It's kind of like a Craigslist ad type thing. And he goes in and they show him some new technology that he hasn't experienced before. And, he's enjoying it. And then they step it up a notch. And they decide to offer him, oh, that's kind of scary, offer him the chance to spend the night in an abandoned house by himself. And it's in his head, it's in a video game, but they're going to show him some scary things, so he's totally up for it. But things start to deteriorate pretty rapidly, and as is custom a lot of the time in Charlie Brooker, there is a lot of twists, and it's hard to see them coming. I kind of pride myself on being able to tell what the twist is going to be in movies and stories and things like that. I always nail it, but I really didn't see this one coming, and it was so shocking, not shocking. Shut Up and Dance, is this the dating one, or... Oh no, it's not the dating one. Well, this is basically about blackmail again. So anybody who does something wrong, they will get a text, not anybody, but the people who it's centered on, they've done something wrong, and they will get a text message blackmailing them that unless they do exactly as the message says, they're going to be exposed. And it's about this young man's day, and he runs into other people who have had the same messages, and you kind of feel for him the whole way up until the end. San Junipero, if I pronounce that right. This is about a version of heaven, I guess. So when you die, you can have your consciousness put into a beautiful paradise land where you can be anybody that you want to be, I think, and you can live however you want to live, and that would be my idea of heaven, because it was like the 80s, and that's like the best era in the whole of eras. And it's just about two women who meet there, and they kind of want to meet in the real world. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, but one of them is going to this heaven kind of afterlife, and the other one wants to just pass away naturally and be with, I believe, her ex-husband. I can't remember how it goes, but it's a beautiful story. It's really good. These are the two beautiful women. It's a really good storyline. And the aesthetic is amazing because it's 80s themed. Men Against Fire, I believe this. Ooh, that's scary. Okay, so this is about a unit of soldiers who are fighting against these mutated kind of creatures. And long story short, because I don't want this video to be like 12 hours long, they have a chip implanted in their heads which makes them see these people as creatures, when in reality, in fact, they are just scared civilians, but because they are undesirables, as per the government at the time, they are being rounded up and hunted. Hated in the nation. Oh, this one was very good. It's all about bees. It's not all about bees, but it is revolving around bees. There's a Twitter trend, that's hard to say, a Twitter trend has been started with like a hashtag to vote for who you want killed, and the person with the most amount of votes ends up being killed. So it immediately becomes a kind of epidemic. The way they get killed is by a bee, but it's kind of like a technology thing. It's a smart bee. And the twist in this one is that at the end, the person who's orchestrated the whole mess, he informs everybody that anyone who's ever voted with the hashtag to kill somebody is then going to be themselves killed. And whether or not that happens, I will leave a mystery, and you'll never know until you watch it. Okay, the final season, season 4, which had a strong, solid start, which again, this is one of my top 2 most difficult ones to watch. It just made my stomach drop. I don't know why, just in certain parts, with the guy who has the kid, it's just terrifying. But it's really, really good. It's about a crew aboard a ship, but it's not all that it seems. I could not do this justice if I tried to describe what happens. But the aesthetic is great. I love Star Trek. I really, really love Star Trek. So it was a good kind of homage to that. But I'm really not going to try and explain it because it would take so long to go into it all. Archangel. Let me think. I believe, let me just find a picture that jogs my memory. Okay, so in this universe, or in this chapter, people are able to record memories, kind of a little bit like the one in season 1, but in this one a woman witnesses something and no, wait, that's a different one. I was a little bit confused. I believe this is where you can install something in your child's brain to turn off any negative, like whenever they're exposed to a negative stimulus, you can blur it out. So it's like kind of censoring real life in a way. And a mother decides to do this to her child, and as the child turns into a young adult, it has bad ramifications. It's basically about control and, you know, the mother not wanting the child to have independence. Very poignant story. This is the one that I thought it was, Crocodile. So a woman witnesses a murder that she's trying to cover up, and it's really difficult to cover things up because people need to check your memories in order to compensate you for insurance and things like that. And she basically is just spiraling out of control, trying to keep a lid on this thing that she's done, and she ends up having to kill people in order to protect her secret. And it really, you know, she goes from being someone who's never killed anyone before to being a serial killer just in a matter of hours, because, you know, it's what she feels like she needs to do. Hang the DJ. This is a story of a dating app, essentially, and it revolves around a civilization where people have to wear a watch, a little bit like a Fitbit, and it tells you when you meet somebody how long your relationship is going to be with that person. So if it says years, then you settle into it. If it says, you know, a night, then you kind of live according to the watch rather than the watch living according to what you're going to feel. But it's about a couple who kind of try and defy that because they are in love, and they get separated, but they find their way back to each other, and there's a reason for that. They leave that what's the word? Not city, but I forget what the word is. Community. They leave that community to see what is outside. Metalhead. I believe this is about robot dogs. Yeah, so it's set in like post-apocalyptic world, and there are these scary, fast killing machines that can track you, and they can spit trackers into you, and they go quite deep into your skin so you can't remove them, and it's just about people trying to get away from that. It was pretty good. Black Museum, this is the best. So it kind of ties it all up neatly because it uses little snippets from previous episodes, and they're all inside this museum. So this young lady visits a museum, and the man who owns and runs it gives her a little insight into each item in his museum, which they're all things from previous episodes. There's a couple of extra ones. There's like a guy who can feel other people's pain through like a little cap, and just random parts like that. And she has an agenda for being there, and it becomes apparent as the episode continues that she's not just there to visit the museum. It's one of the best episodes, definitely. And then after that they did a interactive episode on Netflix called Bandersnatch, where you can choose the decisions you make, and it kind of gets quite meta because, you know, that's to be expected. But I did it for hours until I found all of the kind of things that you could do, and then when I couldn't do it anymore, I just YouTubed all of the bits that I had missed. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on that. I think maybe sometime in the future I'll show you the Nosedive board game, because although, as with half of my board games, I've never actually played it, it might be fun to unbox it. I went to play it. Sorry, I'm like rambling. I did go to play it when I first got it, but it looked so complicated. The instructions were just insane, and my brain could not. You know, when you want to play a board game, you want to kind of have fun, but if you need to read the instructions first, you know that you're probably not going to play the board game that night because it's like a study hour. So yeah, I hope this has been interesting, or at least relaxing, with me rambling on, because I've kind of had a few comments of people saying please make longer videos or talk for longer, and I kind of run out of things to say, especially when I'm showing you something. I always feel awkward just rambling on, but this was quite a good opportunity to talk a little bit more and show you some interesting episodes. And if you've seen it already, you'll be aware of all of these anyway. So I'll see you soon. Thank you for sticking with me.